Mary Amy, and this is Signs of Light. I'm so happy to be here. I feel like I haven't been here in a while, but I guess it was last Thursday. Go figure, a lot has happened since then. Just trying to take this off because this is annoying, right? And I'll just turn this off. So today we have a guest. I'm really excited to share with you that we're going to have a guest today, Randi Marks, and she's a shamanic healer and psychic. And we're also going to cover topics like raise your vibration, light codes, light in general, angels, and starseeds, which whether or not they're considered aliens, they're a higher being, a higher consciousness being from another, I guess you could say, time and space. Now, before we get to that, I just want to say a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. I give suggestions to inner peace and personal serenity. My holistic modalities include I'm an intuitive wisdom coach, I'm a Reiki master, and I'm an ordained minister. Now, let me remind you, bright light shines on us. Every thought is very powerful. We are all part of a whole. My pain is your pain, and your pain is mine. And karma is a cycle of cause and effect. Now, the sacred knowledge that I impart on you is to connect to a light source, engage with nature, and record your sleeping dreams for the universe to guide you on your ultimate destiny. Okay, now she's going to be joining us in 3 minutes, and I know she's super punctual. And this is Randi Marks. She's calling in from Texas. And this is her book over here, which is The Anatomy, right here. I'll just take it off here. And so I have it. So this is The Anatomy of the Awakening. And Randi is very insightful, and I'm extremely grateful that we are friends and she's joining us. So let me tell you a little bit about her before she gives us a call. Randi is a psychic spiritual teacher from Austin, Texas. She's offering shamanic and energy healing. She talks about destiny guidance and psychic readings, and she shares sessions in person or by phone. And if you would like to reach out to her or check her site, it's randimarks.com. A quote from her site is, "I have cycled through lifetime after lifetime as a soul healer to assist humans in moving beyond their fear and illusions and into a place of acceptance, compassion, and non-judgment, love, trust, and magic. We are living in times where enormous shifts in consciousness are occurring, and it takes focused intention and presence and practice to master ourselves, our lives, so that we can flow through these changes with peace and ease. And I am here to assist you through the process of awakening and healing so that your unique spark of light can ripple out into the universe, raising the consciousness of the planet." Now, she has many holistic modalities that she helps her clients with. And her book, The Anatomy of an Awakening, gives chapter by chapter solutions to awakening yourself to a higher consciousness. So a shamanic healer practices shamanism, which is a religious practice that involves a practitioner who is believed to interact with the spirit world through altered states of consciousness, such as a trance. The goal of this is usually to direct these spirits or spiritual energies into the physical world for healing and another purpose. Okay, she'll be calling probably now. And I could just, until she calls in, I'm just going to say. Now, I pulled up from the University of Minnesota from Taking Care of Your Health and Well-Being Shamanism. And this comes from a shaman. Shamanism is a spiritual practice found in cultures around the world from the ancient times up to the present day. First and foremost, shamans' practices are practical and adaptable. These practices coexist over millennia and with varying cultures, systems of government, and organized religious practices. And John Matthews, the Celtic shaman, says, because it is not an organized religion as such, but rather a spiritual practice, shamanism occurs across all faiths and creeds, reaching deep levels of astral memory. And that's kind of what I'm really... Ooh, here she is. Hi!
Hi!
How are you? Can you hear me? Hello? Randy, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I have you on speakerphone, and I have your picture, and I have your book, and I just presented you and spoke a little bit about shamanism, and I know that you have many holistic modalities, not just shamanism, but you're a healer and you're a psychic, and would you like to share a little bit about yourself in your own words?
Sure. I feel that my dharma, my purpose here on earth is really just as a bridge, as a communicator between the angelic realms, the higher dimensions, to this 3D dimensional world. So I kind of act as this conduit between worlds, whether it's through, the shamanic modalities or through the energy healing, really through anything, right? So I guess you described it very well. So I just see myself as a healer and a psychic, and just allow the information to flow through me and out to the world.
And it's funny because shaman has a certain degree of, I guess, a literal representation that it varies. And I liked the last time that I had you as a guest on a show. You kind of shed some light on that. And can you kind of explain that a bit more? What exactly you do?
Absolutely. So the way that I see myself as a shaman and use that modality is, again, it's a practitioner, a healer who is a bridge between worlds, between dimensions. I have an ability where I can go into different realms and communicate and bring back messages or tools or information. But really, like, a shaman just is someone who has the ability to kind of go into the dark, which when I say the word dark, it's not a scary place, right? It's just kind of the void and the dimension, and then you bring things to light. And the word shaman, I think, gets, we think of it as something from, shaman from the Andes, from South America, or Native American, which of course it is. But what people don't realize, and what we spoke about, was it actually originated, in Siberia and Russia, 100,000 years ago. And then those traditions were brought over as tribes and people crossed over into new lands and new worlds. So it's really something that's very ancient. And I think it's wonderful now that it's becoming very mainstream and that people are embracing it, because it's a very ancient tradition that got lost and only got assigned to, the Native American tribes of our country and South America. So it's now expanding, the understanding of it is expanding, which is great, I think. So
when you speak of traveling to other realms, can you give us some tips, or is this something that we have to actually have a practitioner to work with, or can we kind of walk through it ourselves? What kind of guidance can you give us?
So I think it's always helpful when you're new to it to have a practitioner to guide you to. I think it can be. I think anyone can do it, because we're all vibrational, energetic beings here, right? So I'm not special. We all have the ability. What I do think can happen is when people start going there, it can feel scary because they may see things or feel like they're unraveling. So that's where a practitioner is super helpful, that has the experience and the wisdom and the knowledge to walk you through it, and to get you through the light to the other side, or to integrate, or etc. So I think, you asked, like, do you want me to, like, kind of give you an idea of walking through it if you're trying to experience this on your own? Is that something you'd like me to share?
I would, because, it's fun, everyone interprets communication differently, and if people are hearing it, maybe they can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. What is
Right.
it? Something, all your senses come alive. What
Right.
are your eyes closed? Your eyes open? That kind of thing, and what they might encounter. It's fascinating, and since you've done it so much, you're an expert.
So, absolutely, and this whole thing just takes practice, but to really, I don't want to say dumb it down, but to really make it very simplified, because it can seem very complicated and overwhelming, right? All of this world, all this dimensional stuff that we're talking about, it's all right there, right? We're the ones that are in the way, right? We're the block. Ourselves, our minds, our preconceived notions, a lot of times, even like in meditation, when I talk to students, everyone's trying to attain a certain sense of enlightenment or a certain sense of, experience to the divine, right? But like, there is nothing to attain, really. It's all there. We are that already, right? So really the best place to begin, and that's what we teach when we teach meditation, is you just begin with the breath, and the breath is it's there, it's your life force, it's your connection to spirit. It is spirit, right? You're breathing in the universe, into your body every time you breathe in, and every time you breathe out, you're letting go of something. You're letting go of something that's blocking you, or that's, not serving you, or in your way, or whatever. So this is a lifelong practice, I believe, many, many, many lifetimes to finally, get to a place where we're good. But, being in this human body, being energy and an angel and angelic, being, if you come to this earth in that form, and being in this body is hard work, right? Because it's very confined. And so to expand and to connect to all that is, and that's all that's already there, I mean, you just have to just sit and breathe and be with it. And it's an interesting thing, because a lot of times people will say, well, when I do that, I have all these thoughts. Now I have all these thoughts that are in my way. And all that's always there. It's running, right? So you're just having a moment to see what you're thinking about all day, and to have the opportunity to start clearing that out, because the clearer you are as a channel, the easier it is to connect, because there's not as much stuff in the way between you and a higher dimension. So I think with anyone who is really interested in this and really looking for deeper connection beyond this physical body, beyond this reality that they're in, it's really starting with the breath every single day, connecting, asking the powers, your spirit team around you, what's my place in all of this? How do I fit into this bigger picture? Allowing yourself to being guided, but I think most importantly is just not having an attachment to an outcome, that you'll feel the connection or see the connection or hear a message. You just have to allow. You have to ask, you have to participate in creating the connection, but then allowing it to happen, and not having an attachment to a specific outcome, and just allowing your life to unfold and have these synchronicities and to see these signs, and just being aware and noticing things. And it's happening all the time, all around us. We're just not always super present and aware to notice that it is. So it really just takes this breath, awareness, detachment, and just having the intention and the belief, right? The intention and the belief is super important. So that's where I would begin if I was a beginner.
Okay.
And that's where I begin.
Okay, that was a lot of advanced talk as well, whether you realize it or not. Okay, I've done for years meditation. So basically what you're saying is, it's as simple as closing your eyes, focusing on your breath, and then are you asking, what you're saying, you're clearing away your thoughts that you're attached to, and then you're saying you can connect to another realm right there, and then that's all?
What I think what I'm doing is, and this is an important piece.
Okay.
So people say, well, like, why in meditation do they always say, go back to the breath? You always hear people say, go back to the breath, go back to the inhale, the exhale. You might have a mantra. That's why we go back to mantra. We repeat a word over and over again. What we're doing is, it's like a pattern interrupt that we're creating from our thoughts, and we're shifting consciousness, right? Like we're trying, so we're constantly trying to shift our consciousness away from the beliefs and the thoughts that are always running, that are usually very negative, usually judgmental about ourselves, and we're moving it to the breath, whatever, which is a new state of consciousness. And for even if it's a nanosecond, it can sometimes be like a second that you feel, oh, I didn't have a thought. But then you had the thought that you didn't have the thought, right? You're back into the consciousness. But you're like having this moment of like, I was suspended in time and space. And so what we're trying to do through the breath is to widen those moments of being expanded in time and space and taking ourselves out of time and space. Now, an important point to make to this is we should be with our thoughts. Right. They're there for a reason. They're information. They're telling you what you're thinking about all day. They're showing you where you're disturbed, where there's disturbances inside, knowing where they came from, making peace with them, listening to that hurt, that pain, that resentment, whatever it is. Like, a lot of times people go into meditation, they think they're going to suppress all of that. But that's like your time to let it all come up and talk to it and be with it, and then breathe and send breath and light to it. And slowly but surely in this practice, you have less of those thoughts. Sometimes you have more disturbances than others, and that's okay. But you learn to work with it and to allow it to show you what's going on inside. And that's the stuff that's blocking you from having this connection to higher dimensional frequency. We talk about frequency. These higher dimensions are at a higher frequency than we are here in the 3D dimensional world. And so if we want to connect with it, we have to do our work to raise that, to meet that frequency, to meet that vibration, or to meet that energy. So being stuck in fear and drama and the heaviness, it's harder. It's denser energy, if that makes sense to everyone. So we're trying to do our best to notice if we feel heavy, to pay attention to it, to breathe into it, to do our best to just like lighten ourselves up, and then we naturally just raise up to a higher place.
So when we get to this higher place, what does it feel like? What is it like at this higher place? And what should we expect?
Well, see, so I would say I can't answer that. I can only answer for myself because I don't want to project any experience that might not be yours, right? So for every person, it's different. So for me, I can only talk for myself. When I'm there, it's peace. It's calm. There's no worry. It's all good. It's just flow. It's all going to work out. I feel loved, unconditionally loved, like beyond, like the loving experience beyond what I can even express to you in words. It's just, it makes you almost want to cry. It's just a deep, profound connection. It's just a deep connection for me. And I just know that it's all good. It's all going to be fine. And there's no worry at all. There's nothing to be worried about. So for people out there who might have feelings of depression or anxiety, or they're just completely disconnected, that's why this work is important. But it's also important to maybe have someone who is a practitioner who can empathize and can guide you, so that you're not just out there trying to figure this out on your own. But there's also wonderful tools online. So if it's something that's speaking to you, seek out the help, seek out the guidance. You're not alone in this world, and you're not alone in higher dimensional worlds, right? We're all here to help you and guide you to, where you need to go next.
I had that last conversation with you, and I believe we spoke about karmic debt and karmic relationships and entangling yourself. And I'm wondering, with what you're saying right now about, traveling to another dimension through meditation, through connecting to breath, and raising your vibration, can we also travel to our past lives, you know, in this process?
Sure. I mean, I think it's also, so the answer to that is yes and no, depending on, I mean, there's different ways to answer that question. So yes, but if you believe that we're living multiple lives, and if you're a believer that we're living parallel lives, so like in shamanism, right, the past, the future, the present, it doesn't go in a linear line. It's really all happening at the same time. So I think it just depends also on your belief, you know? So if you have a vision of a past life or a past experience, I think this is kind of a convoluted, my answer might sound a little convoluted, but I think it also can be that you're feeling things that might have been handed down to you genetically,
right?
Like through generational stuff,
right?
That you could actually be experiencing something from a great person, your grandmother or grandfather. So sometimes things are just genetically passed down that you're now expressing and experiencing now. It could be past, future, now, all converging to now. So that's like a bigger conversation, right?
That's exciting. What you're saying is I'm going in all these directions now in my mind, because now I'm wondering, I have never heard this. Everything's converged at one time, happening at the same time, all different dimensional history, basically, you're saying, and time?
So you can have a future, so you know, sometimes you'll have like a deja vu.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, like I've been here before. Like, it's because your future already happened. And like you're just kind of there's like a glitch somehow in the energy that you like are seeing it again.
Okay.
Right? So we have to, so this is the piece about the meditation, which is very advanced. But really what we're doing in meditation, if everyone wants to know the secret of meditation, in my opinion, is we're really melting away the room. We're melting away ourselves, our bodies.
Yeah.
We're melting away time and space. And then what's left is this spark of light, which is your eternal being, your eternal soul, your eternal light that never dies.
Right.
And so when we're getting to become advanced meditators, all we're doing every day is to connect, to be reminded that we are like that spark of light that you speak about so eloquently all the time, right? So,
Thank you.
So then if you're like that spark of light and you're just like this energy, you realize that there is no future, past, anything. It's just like out in outer space, there's no time. That's a concept of our minds. We created that through consciousness. Consciousness created past, future, present. So, yeah, so it's really trippy when you start to think about it, but it's super cool that we most likely, in my opinion, are... I mean, we're here, but we're also there. And then the shamanic point of view is that when we work on ourselves and our stuff here now that we are looking at right in front of us, it actually can heal, like we've talked about this, heal your ancestors in the past. You can be healing them and their energy and their karma, but you're also healing the future. You're also healing the beings that are coming through your lineage.
Okay.
So that's why it's so important to work on ourselves. Not to be obsessed with it, not to be narcissistic, but it's like the more that we become that light, the more that we let go of this body, this time, this space, our hurts, our resentment, our history, being mad at mom and dad for whatever from 20 years ago, right? The more we can like let go of all this stuff, we're connecting, and then the healing is just like instantaneous, because then there's nothing blocking you. There's no mass. It's just you're traveling through time and space all over the place. And that's the stuff that's really cool, but that's the stuff that also can really scare people. And that's why a practitioner being on your team, you know, your spiritual team or on your healing team or your medical team is helpful. Because they can make sense of it for you, so you don't think you're losing your mind, right? To ground you and anchor you back to this dimension, but also having 1 foot in, 1 foot out, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it totally does. And when you're saying this about, if you let go of everything that exists around you and you're saying getting to actually your spark of light, is that what you were saying?
Yeah. Yes.
And with that, do you believe that if you get down to that and you become very clear, then you can connect with even more, dimensionally, and you raise your vibration? Do you call it an ascension, by the way? It
is an ascension, and I think it's, different words are going to resonate with different people.
Okay.
It's an ascension. Okay. It's enlightenment.
Okay.
It's, I mean, whatever word resonates, that's going to be helpful for the person. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to tell people I don't think there's a word, but if you find a word that resonates with you, then that's great. That's that word also has a frequency, right? And just even thinking that or having the belief in it is going to help you to connect to that. So yes, you can call it an ascension, sure.
So I mean, is your work I don't want to say practically, but is your work essentially to help your clients so that they have more peace?
I mean, I guess going back to the meditation piece, when someone comes to see me or someone chooses to step into this work with me, I don't plan it. I only hold the outcome of whatever it is that their energy, their soul, their spark of light is asking me to assist with, if that makes sense. And as I'm working with them, I'm also listening to their spiritual team, their angels, their guides, ancestors, whatever shows up. And they're showing me as a conduit, what they want me to present to this person, or to whatever healing modality they want me to use for that person in that time, in this space, which could change the next session that they come to see me. So really, as a healer, I just hold an intention that they receive what it is they need to receive, and that the healing that they need is served. So other than that, I definitely, though, I guess I do also hold an intention for them to find connection. And I find that right now we're kind of in this epidemic where people are very disconnected, which is so ironic. With all the connection we have, it's actually created more disconnection. And so really, when I'm there and I'm creating this space that people walk into, my intention is the minute they walk in, they feel it. That they just feel immediately I feel connected. I feel different when I walk in, I walk out, I feel shifted. And so I just want people, when they come to see me, I do hold the intention that they remember what it's like to feel connected to something bigger than themselves, that's at a higher place, that is who they are. So I do hold that intention. But really, it's more of a general intention of that they receive what they need, and I'm just listening and then responding to what their energy is telling me. I'm really talking to their energy, not to their mouth, but to what their energetic field is telling me.
I'm getting while you're talking, I'm hoping that we get some questions. Somebody give Randi a question, because people are writing in the chat while you're speaking. I'm just writing, I hope this gives you light. So, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted.
That's fine.
What? Is that fine? Is that what you said? That's fine. I sense, I'm almost tongue-tied with you, Randi, because I sense that you are extremely advanced in all of this work. And I can only imagine that how, when you have somebody who's a beginner, somebody who's newly saying, oh, help me, I need to kind of get into a better place. It's
right.
It's really simple for you to kind of know what information to give them and what direction to take them in. If someone was coming to you more advanced at your level, what would be some kind of work that you would do with them? What's something you would do with them if it was
someone who's advanced or someone who's not advanced?
No, someone who's advanced.
Someone who's advanced.
Because I know that, here we are and we're all starting from the beginning, but maybe we don't have to always start from the beginning, and give some advanced input as well as something for a newbie. What would you...
something that I really love to give every person is definitely tools. Like I'll give them a tool, and it's up to them to take it and to practice it and work with it. I really believe that when we do ritual, that's actually the stuff that really transforms us the fastest. It's like a participation and a co-creation, right? So I think it's important to have these tools that we practice with. I really don't think, honestly, it's funny when I'm thinking about your question, I don't even think it matters if you're a beginner or advanced. We all have our stuff. We all have our blocks. We all have the stuff that's like getting in the way of our intuition and our connection, and that's kind of like bringing us down. I mean, most people don't come and see me when they're feeling like super elated and joyful. I mean, maybe they do.
They need help. Right? People come to you when they need help.
So I'm kind of like the guy that's like, let's get you through this. Like, what are we going to do today? Like, you're here. It takes a lot of courage to show up. I'm happy you're here. You're in front of me. The angels brought you, plopped you here. Like, let's do the work, So I don't even think it matters if you're beginner or advanced. It's just probably different tools, different messages. It's just whatever's going on with that person. So I don't want to categorize beginner or advanced. I think we're all just these, these vibrational beings in a human form, and we're just trying to figure it out.
Right.
Like, how do I do this?
Right.
How do I have a life that's like more at peace and ease and more in alignment? And how do I like live a great life and get the stuff? And
I'm losing you. Hello.
Okay.
I missed you for 1 second. Can you hear me? Oh. Maybe I have to call her back. I can't hear her. Let me call her back. Does anyone have any questions? Season TV, Ocean TV. How are you? How are you? Let's see who else is in here. Dominic Z. Hello. You there? We lost her. We lost Randy. Randy, where are you? So enjoyable for one more time. Oh, Kamash. Do we have any questions for her?
Hello, and thank you for calling.
Okay, she's got to call me back. We can't lose her yet. I need to hear some more. Oh, there she is. Hey, I lost you. It's such a long distance to Texas.
Are you here?
I couldn't hear you. I don't know how long you spoke without me. Can you hear me now? Oh, rats. She doesn't have Messenger. We can't lose her. Hi, Olsen TV. Nice. Thanks for joining me. Do you have any questions? Oh, I think I should just let her call me back. What does everyone think? Call me back. Bad Wi-Fi, right? You know what I'm going to ask? I'm going to say to her is that I think me saying beginner advanced is good for us to know, because that means that all of us can gain information and transform. It's all about transforming and healing. I don't know what's going on here. I wanted to ask her about her book, The Anatomy of an Awakening. And I don't know what's going on here. This is bad. Never had this happen. The Wi-Fi is just, oh, no service. I have no service. maybe I should try. Okay, now it should work. Now I have 3 bars. I'm sorry. Now I lost everyone. Okay, well, it's going to your voicemail. No, now it's calling.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you know what? It's so funny. I went down to 0 bars, and then I lost a few people, but that's okay. It's like you know, where I am, for whatever reason, I live so far off the road. It's happened lately. But you know, I just was saying to everyone that I'm glad that I actually said about the beginner and advanced, because sometimes people that haven't been in our arena look at what we're talking about and they kind of shy away because they say, oh, this is something I can't do, when it's really for any person. Anybody can gain something from this kind of work, because we're always transforming and growing, and even after you've advanced, you still get, like you said, drama in your life or some kind of negativity, and it's helpful to have ideas on how to deal with that.
Right. And it's interesting, the comment you made. I don't think we do it. That's like a judgment of ourselves, right?
Right.
And so that, I would say, that's what we're going to work with today. Like, work with self-judgment. Like,
right.
Why do you think you can't do it? You know, so
right.
We have these, it's so deep, like, these ideas and beliefs and, like, come from, and, you know, did a teacher in school tell you you couldn't do something, but that hurt you so much that now you think that about everything in your life? I mean, it's really interesting when we can connect dots in our lives. We see where all these beliefs come from. But that's the part of, can we get to this place where, like, the room doesn't matter, our body doesn't matter, and to get to that light where all the judgment goes away and anything's possible, and you can do this work because you're here. Like, all of us, I feel, signed up to be here. So we're here for something, right? And
right.
I'm not, I've just spent more time working at this and doing this, you know? So it's possible for anyone, but if you think it's not possible, then that's where I would begin. Is like, where did that belief come from? You know, did someone tell you that it was like a witch, it's witchcraft, or devil work? I mean, I've heard all kinds of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's obviously interesting you for a reason. It's calling you.
Right.
So,
right.
If you're ready to step into it. I also think, going back to the practitioner piece,
mm-hmm.
I think it's super important to find someone,
mm-hmm.
and we talk about the word frequency, and we'll use the word energy, to find someone whose energy works with yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that you feel good around that person, because that's when you kind of start, right?
Mm-hmm.
If their energy feels good to you and you trust them,
mm-hmm.
you'll be more open to opening up and to doing this work of shedding all the stuff that most people really don't want to look at. It's a lot of work. So finding that person that really resonates with you and that you can trust to work with and to be vulnerable with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a super important piece of it too.
What would you say are some indications that someone is becoming awakened, or they're sensing that they have a calling? What would be some indications people might have?
Gosh, I mean, it's like that nudging feeling. Like,
mm-hmm.
It's almost like, you know, we've all had like that little voice. It's almost like a little kid, like, pulling at you and, like, always being like, but why? But why? But why? It's like this little nudging. It's like a voice that won't go away. Like, even if you try to, like, suppress it, it, like, keeps coming back. There's like a voice, there's something pulling you, and you know it's just trying to get your attention. It just, like, won't go away. It almost feels like OCD thoughts, right? Like, it keeps coming up. I also think when you're having an awakening, some ways to know that it's happening. I mean, you look at your life,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, there's something more for me. This isn't enough. I'm not living to my potential. Like, you're just kind of seeing that there's more than what's just here in front of you, if that makes sense. So it's really like, I want to call it like a calling,
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of like getting this calling, this nudge, this pull, this thing that's pulling you in a direction. You're waking up. A good word to use is illusion. You're starting to look at the world and you're realizing that it's not real. That all this stuff is like manipulated and not real, and you have more questions and answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just lots of questions coming up for you. It's kind of like, that's kind of how you know, like, something's happening here. And, like, what am I going to do with it? And I honestly think that people who ignore it, sometimes you ignore it for a little bit because you're not sure if it's, like, your voice or, like, a higher voice.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you realize, okay, this is not my thoughts. Like, this is something that's not leaving me alone.
Mm-hmm.
But the people, I think, who suppress it, if they stuck, it's a bad place. And you can really spiral downward when you ignore the calling, ignore the awakening. Sometimes those people can't even be here on this earth anymore. They decide to leave. It can cause a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, So it's really important when you're getting these feelings that, like, something's calling me, something's asking me to make a change, even if it's going to be hard, even if it's going to hurt someone's feelings. Like, you're being called. When you suppress it and ignore it, it's actually what you fear is on the other side of what you don't see or know, if that makes sense to everyone. So I think what stops people is they're afraid of the unknown, and they don't know what's on the other side. If they do this, or they step into it, or they let go of all the things that they've been armoring themselves with, like, if I let go of all this, then who am I?
Well, lost her again. I'm going to ask her about Awakening, her book. We just are not having a good connection today. It's like we're not supposed to talk anymore. Maybe we're not. Now I have no bars. Ugh. This is so weird. This has never happened to me. I feel bad. I feel like this is so, like, I've never had this happen to me. Where I had one other time where I had this medium who was literally in the next town, and that was the day that we had a really bad rainstorm. But for some reason, like you said it, and someone just, Dominic, on the chat just said, dark energy sabotage the live. That's what it says.
Well, sometimes the dark energies come in and they don't want the light and the truth to get out, but also we're talking some high frequency stuff, and that can interfere with phones and
is that legit? I mean, because look, I want to get down to some really nitty gritty stuff here, because I mean, we're talking around a lot, you and I, because we're talking about light, and you said, there's so much going on in the world right now, chaotic. Yeah. Right? And yeah. I look at some of the news. I don't watch the news. I'll scan through my phone and look at news stories, and it's like death and destruction, and people are doing naughty things, and it's just out of control. And and then you look at comments and you say, wow, there's a lot of dark comments and negative, mean things that I know that people can write on the internet or on the, and nobody knows them, and it's anonymous, and maybe they're doing that to get things out. But do you, what I'm trying to ask you is, do you sense that all this upheaval, everything will clear, and how do you have an idea of how long this is going to go on for?
I think it's up to us as humans to decide, right? So that goes back to, are we going to do the work? So if we're all going to be trapped in our fear, and by the way, when you're trapped in fear, you're very easily manipulated by the media, by social media, whatever.
It's fear.
So you've got to get really, really clear on not being in that place of fear, because you are being easily manipulated, which then perpetuates this time frame we're talking about.
Right.
So,
because it could be right now. I mean, if everyone held hands and they loved each other. Like I say all the time, I love everyone out there, and I truly do. I'm just literally saying, like what you're saying, I'm learning so much from you, because what do I know? I feel like I know nothing talking to you, Randi, but what I am saying simply is, and I've had a higher power. Oh, there she's gone again. Wow, nobody wants to hear this. What is happening? Ah! Ah! Ah!
It's okay. We're gonna get.
No, we're not gonna let this fight. We're not. We're spreading light, and we're gonna keep going.
There is more, much faster. It's not what humans are doing right now, and it's okay. We're all here to learn and grow. But I do think this time frame is going to last a while. But you mentioned the word chaos, right? And it's actually a perception shift.
It's a what? What is happening here?
Like it needs to be chaotic in order for things to get peeled back and peeled away, and to come to like, oh, well, what is it we're really trying to create here as a new consciousness or whatever. So, I don't know. Yes, I think it's up to each of us individually to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And it could go much faster, but I can't, like you said, and I said, I can't make anyone think that way.
Right.
I can't make anybody love, and I can't make anybody.
No, I don't want to either. People. It's not my journey. Like it's so funny because I exist in some kind of mental bubble. That I just am doing my own thing no matter what's happening around me. I just keep plugging along. And I am just
That's perfect, though. I think that's perfect. I want your listeners to hear that, because I don't think it's being in denial. I think you have to almost create that in order to continue to ripple out this light of love, so you can remind people of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's being in denial. I think it's actually perfect that you do that.
I'm just, all I'm saying, it's like, my message is pretty simple. Like, I'm here to just talk about light and connecting with your light and letting go of darkness. And, it's a different way than your way, but we're kind of probably have the same intention. It's the same intention, and you've really connected with other realms, and I know that I have an understanding of something that's much bigger than myself. I know I do. And that we're all, like, every piece of nature is connected to me. So if other people out there are experiencing pain in some way, it's connecting to me, and it's my pain as well. And I'm just hoping that somehow, some way, people can get a hold of this and understand that they don't have to live in fear. Okay, question I was thinking before we got cut off 50 times. The Matrix. I've heard this term, the Matrix. Why are you laughing? You're laughing.
It's just funny. It's like, sorry. It's not, to me, it's not a surprise that it keeps dropping. But
oh, really? Well, I'm one of those people that is traveling up a hill all the time. I'm not having that mental state. I'm saying things can be easy, but if they're difficult, it doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. So, have you heard that term, the Matrix?
Wait, ask that again.
The Matrix. Have you heard the term, the Matrix?
Oh, hang on, Mary. The connection's funny.
The Matrix. All
I hear is the word the Matrix.
Right. Have you heard of that term, the Matrix? Okay, so we have a couple. I'm sure she will do after the stream. Oh, I don't know what that means, Dominic. No, I'm saying, have you heard the term the Matrix? People talk about these other realms, these other dimensions as the Matrix.
So, what I'm understanding about, like, the simplified way of talking about the Matrix, and this is probably a whole other conversation if you can find maybe like a physicist or someone to come on your show, but it's basically like we're in this matrix, and we're basically in this, like, if you think of it as like a video game, we're basically in a video game, I guess is the best way to say it. And everything that's happening or happening to us or the people we see is all being controlled by whoever's running the game. That makes sense. So we're kind of in someone's video game.
You know, I thought about that. So do you believe that we are? Or you're saying that's what the term means?
Well, I mean, I'm really dumbing it down, but it's kind of, you can we'll read more about it and go deeper into it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's how I understand the term, is that we're kind of in, and I guess the way you can also look at it is life predestined,
Mm-hmm.
but we along the way make choices, and we have our reactions or non-reactions to the events that unfold, but it's all predestined. That might be another way of looking at it, being in a matrix.
Right.
Or do you believe it's like completely, totally free will, and we're creating all of it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm actually super intrigued, like these UFOs and stuff, that they don't know what they are.
Oh, yes, we can talk about that, because I love that subject.
I know you do. And I almost feel like, you think of talking about the Matrix, I'm like, are we in their game? Are they dropping in to check in on us? Are they sending us messages? Are they, I don't know. So it's really a lot to think about when when people don't know what it is. I believe I feel like there's way advanced life forms.
Oh, yeah.
In a dimensional time. We don't understand it yet because we don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But they already understand how to move in and out of dimensions in a nanosecond.
Yeah.
So are we in a matrix? I don't know. It's something really cool to think about, though.
I actually had someone I've had more than one person who's, I speak to a lot of different light workers, holistic coaches, that kind of thing, psychics and healers, and a couple of them have talked about how they're traveling it's really us traveling, I guess, back in time. And that the aliens, the UAPs, who are flying the crafts or transmedian in the air and in the water are actually us in the future. And I don't know. I mean, it's fascinating because it's all allegedly, it's theories. It's obviously theories, hypotheticals. And they've been around for so long. And it's the 25th, this report came out, and then there was some talk about it. And yesterday, it's funny you're bringing this up, because in the back of my mind, last night I was thinking about this show, and I said, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, no one's talking about UAPs anymore. It's not even a hot topic. And you're bringing it up, but they talk about them being telepathic, and are they actually sending us messages, and are they already on our planet? And today I'm talking about starseeds. Do you know what starseeds are?
Well, like the beings, like there's different types of beings with the starseeds, correct?
Right. Starseeds are actually a person spiritually aware, and actually we are starseeds, and we have written in our DNA, and it's this idea that we are sent back to Earth to transform the world. So there's some of us that are starseeds, and there's different types, and they look a different way, and I mean I definitely been thinking a lot about it, and currently hold the belief that a new human is forming. Mm-hmm.
It obviously will take a very long time. When I say that, doesn't mean it's going to happen in our lifetime, but it's forming. I don't necessarily feel like what they don't know is out there is us in the future. I almost think that we're here almost as an experiment, and something is changing, and a new human is forming. And I do think that they come to check, to insert messages. I think they're already amongst us,
mm-hmm.
In human form.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my belief. I don't know. I can't believe that we're the only existing living creatures in this entire universe we don't even know where it begins and ends. So to me, I'm like, it makes sense that there's other life forms. Mm-hmm. But I think that they come and they check on us. And something was really interesting that one of my teachers said to me was something about how almost like our country is mm-hmm. kind of like the ones that keep getting checked on, because we're a country of like freedom and thoughts and ideas. Mm-hmm. And so whatever we do here to change then goes out to the rest of the world. So mm-hmm. I think that's why here we feel so much upheaval. It's because we're kind of like we're kind of the ones that needs to happen here, so that it easily spreads to the rest of the world to advance humans and consciousness.
Well, I like hearing that. I'm actually pulling up right now while you're saying that, because you're an angel believer as well. And I have this picture of this painting, and it's a soul brought to heaven, and it's about these two angels that are carrying this. It's like an injured being, like a human, carrying them to safety, and it's about. And flying toward a distant light. And
beautiful.
Yeah, and it's called A Soul Brought to Heaven by William, I'm so bad at I can't even pronounce it, from 1878. But my point is that I believe what you're saying is accurate, and I believe that light conquers evil, and I mean, that's my belief, not yours. I'm saying my belief is that light will conquer evil. And I don't even like to use the word conquer because it sounds aggressive. It's more like light will, shift away darkness, and we will prevail. And there is something that's coming from this. It's like growing out of this, and maybe all of this, upheaval, like whatever's going on is just got to it's a cleansing or something.
Yeah, I mean, think about the world, how long we know it's existed, and then how long humans have. Like, we're babies. You know what I mean? So it's really growing pains and growing in, think about as humans, we're babies, and then we grow into, childhood, and then adolescence. Like, there's growing pains that happen. And in the process, I mean, I've had little kids, they throw freaking tantrums when they don't get their way. You know what I mean? That's their way of getting your attention, and that's the most authentic, right? Is like throwing a tantrum.
Right.
So we're kind of throwing a tantrum right now. And eventually you mature and you grow, and you have to make choices and be responsible. And this can take time over like millions of years. Like, we're so used to everything being so instantaneous. So it's like millions of years if we're still out here and we haven't killed each other, but it really goes back to like each person has to choose. It's like you said, if we all choose to be responsible and stop blaming and come together and listen. I mean, when people just listen and compromise, things get done much faster, right? You're not always going to get what you want. You have to give and take in life. And so it's an interesting thing that it can take as long as we make it take, or we can make it go much faster by choosing. And so I think right now everyone's in a position of what do you choose? Which is it? So we're kind of in a choosing phase right now. Yeah.
And also, it's funny, I've gained so much patience, and I see something so vividly where I'm going, whatever it is that my plan is, that I ignore what's going on around me, and I just keep carrying on. And I have the patience, and I know that if you're consistent and you have compassion and you're kind to others, good will happen to you. I truly believe that good will happen to you, and you don't have to give up, and there's enough love out there, and you just have to be patient and be kind to yourself and kind to others. And you don't have to worry so much, because I think fear comes from worry. It's like a symptom. It's a symptom of worry, because then I have to have an answer right now, or it has to be solved right now. Maybe it doesn't, I always say, your time is different than my time is different than his time. So everyone has different time that they figure things out. And if they're not figuring it out, then it doesn't have to involve me. I'm just here to say, hey, guess what? This is an alternative. There's a 1,000 different responses to everything. So before you go, because I've already kept you here off and on through all the phone calls for an hour. Wait, I have someone ask about simulation theory. Do you know what that is? Simulation theory? I don't know what that is.
I don't know if I have this correct when I say this, but is it basically it kind of affects the Matrix question?
Oh.
That we're in a simulator.
Oh.
And that we are a simulation.
Okay, Dominic said that.
So when you have a thought of I don't know, I want to talk to Randy, and then all of a sudden you see me pop up. Let's just say I'm in New York, and you're like, oh, I want to talk to Randy, and you turn a corner, like, oh my God, there's Randy.
Yeah.
The simulation theory, I believe, goes that they know that you thought that, and then they go ahead quickly and program it, so that when you turn the corner, you see me.
Well, that kind of thing happens to me. That thing kind of happens to me, but not that quick.
Right, so I guess the simulation theory is that, like, we're having thoughts, and we think it's a synchronicity. Like, so if you start to, like, connect all the synchronicities, then you have to start questioning. The simulation theory, I believe, goes, you have to start questioning, is it really synchronicities, or are we having the thought, and then whoever's running the matrix or the game isn't putting that person there to make us think that we thought it, but they really, like, put it there.
Wow. I have to read up on that.
It gets that far out. You can ask the person if I have that correct, but that's what I believe it to mean.
Well, he heard you say it, so, or she. I'm assuming Dominica. Oh, no, it's Dominica Z. So I don't know. It takes time for them to respond to me from the question. But about your, this was a really fun conversation. I feel like, it started out and I was a little nervous because some of your information goes right over my head, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't even come up with her. Now that question doesn't even apply. What about that question? And, but you kind of took me down a road, and I really appreciate you, having the kindness to answer everything that I asked you. Now, about your book, I love your book. I got it. I believe I got it on Amazon. Is that where it's sold?
It's a little store guide book, yes. I
love this book. And it's steps, and you have in here phase 1, who are you is dying, and then it's talking about the light entering and crossroads and rediscovering yourself and a higher consciousness and living in alignment and co-creation and rebirth. And I think it's brilliant. And anyone out there who wants to know a little bit more about Randi, you can purchase this. It's not even, I think it's got to be under $15 for this, right? I believe
it's like $7.
$7 for an awakening.
And you can just type in Randi Marks and it'll pop up the anatomy of an awakening.
And she's lovely, from Texas, and her website is randimarks.com. Okay, before we go, share some of your work. If someone gets in touch with you, what can they expect? And what do you offer?
So currently, I've kind of edited some stuff down recently because I'm always listening to what I'm being shown as a message of what people need right now. Currently, I'm seeing vaccinated clients in person for the shamanic and the energy healing. So I do that in person, and it's hands-on healing, also some discussion. So we're in person together. So if you're visiting Austin or you want to come to Austin, I've had people travel here from LA, whatever, like to come see me. I do that in person. And then by phone, I do psychic readings. And I also do something what I call destiny guidance. And the destiny guidance is really for people who are looking to make a big change in their life, or they have a new business idea, or they're just trying to make a change. And we're kind of mapping out how you can create a new destiny for yourself. And then the psychic readings are us together connecting with your angels, spirit guides, ancestors to like show you the messages that need to be presented at this time in your life to get you through what you need to be shown.
Do you, because, for those of us who aren't in Texas, do you do these can you do any of this video chat?
So I do, right now I'm doing it by phone. I did have Zoom, but I find the phone, the information was coming through much more clearly. There was less interference somehow in the messages. So if someone really needed to do a video, I'm very open to it. But if they could do phone, I think the messages come through much more clear. It's kind of like more ethereal, if that makes sense. It's less, sometimes when you're like seeing each other, it can get in the way of the messages.
100%. Do you have any messages for me?
I have any messages for you?
Yeah.
Let me just close my eyes. Give me a sec.
Okay. Do I need a message?
The message I get for you is that you're doing amazing work, that the light that you're rippling out really matters. And so continue to ripple out the light. I keep getting this message that, like, tell her how much it matters. Tell her how much it matters.
That makes me
emotional. So what we're doing really matters. And to keep rippling out, whether it's giving the checkout person at the grocery store a smile, a compliment, all of it's rippling.
Okay.
All of it's light. So they're saying it matters, it matters, it matters, it matters.
Okay. Thank you for saying that, because, I need validation, and I hear that too, but it's all in my, sometimes I say, is this real? Am I really getting this information, or is this just me, I don't know. So it's nice to hear it.
They're telling me to tell you that it doesn't have to be huge. I think we think in our mind it has to be something really big and profound, but your ripple effect in your light can be, even the smallest things are profound.
Okay.
Because you don't ever know how you're going to affect someone with your light. Like, you just put it out there and you walk away, right? We're detaching. Right. So you have no idea that person might have come to work thinking, I'm going to take my life today. But you gave them a smile and a compliment, and they're like, oh, maybe today I'll live another day. You have no idea.
Right.
So they're saying that, like, even the smallest things, they're telling me that maybe you think it has to be so profound, but even the smallest things are profound. The smallest acts of kindness or light that you're talking about are actually very profound.
Thank you. That's what I believe too. I believe that, I believe me just saying it, here and telling people, even if it's just one person that's listening, it doesn't matter. It's like one life, one person that knows that somebody's out here, and we all have tough times and we all go through it, and just someone here is telling you that it's not a perfect world. It's not easy all the time. Well,
being human is not easy. And by the way, even just one person, they can go and tell 10 people. That's the ripple effect. So one person is profound. It is a big deal.
I like that. I'm going to talk about the ripple effect on Thursday now.
It's an important thing to talk about, because people think everything has to be so big and so profound. It's like, it's so important. Just like you're saying, put it out there. Be the light. Be the ripple. Be kind. Be kindness. Like, show it to others. Like, be the example. We're not trying to force things on people. We're just living by example. And showing people that there is another way to be. If you make an impression on them, they're like, wow, I want to be more like her. And you've impressed them, and that's important, because that's the awakening. You're waking them up to, like, oh, I want to be like that. I know I can be that. But, you know what I'm saying? So we could go in so many directions. But being human is not easy, but you got to choose, and I love that you're choosing light and love, and it's awesome, and that you're sharing with all these people, so it's wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on today and taking time in your schedule. I know you're super busy, and you definitely, something happened here, because we kept getting disconnected, and it was like blocking it, it was blocking. It was so strange.
We pushed down the dark with the light.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Randi. And I put up your site, and I'm sharing again the Awakening, The Anatomy of Awakening, a guidebook by Randi Marks. So, Randi, have a lovely week.
Thank you,
too. And I'll talk to you after. I'll text you, and I'll send you a link to this.
Wonderful.
Okay?
All your listeners, thank you, and you be well. We'll talk soon.
All right, be well.
You too. Bye.
Bye. That was great. She's awesome, and she's nice. She's super great person. I'm lucky I have her in my life. And so moving on, that was nice that we had Randi, and I was going to say, it says here, I wanted to say one more thing before we move on. Nope, I already said that. Okay. Well, that's great. Thanks, everybody, for staying with us. All right, so I want to touch on a few topics. Like I had said earlier when we started the show, we were having Randi Marks. And then I wanted to talk about, speak with Randi about vibration and raising your vibration. So raising your vibration, what is that really? And simply, it's your emotional state. I got emotional. It's like I need a tissue. It's your emotional state, your vibration. So it could be, like a light vibration, a higher vibration. is that have more joy, you're more happy, you're not, carrying negativity, and it's your emotions and your thought patterns. And a higher vibration is about joy and peace and acceptance, and that creates a higher frequency. So higher frequency attracts more abundance, attracts more opportunities, and hopefully more inner peace and serenity. And then a lower vibrations are feelings and minds such as anger and despair and fear and resentment. So I'm recommending to forgive yourself and to forgive others to begin to have a higher frequency and a higher vibration. So I would like to do a visualization, a quick visualization. And I want to say, I believe what Randi was talking about had to do with being a channel, and she's a channel for others, so she shares messages like she just shared with me that whatever I'm doing is causing a ripple effect, and I appreciate that. So a channeler is a person who conveys thoughts of energy from a source believed to be outside the person's body or conscious mind, an interpreter. And they allow themselves to sense the nonverbal communications from another being, possibly communications with angels that come from a higher consciousness. So let's do, before we touch on, I want to talk about starseeds and light codes. We're going to do a visualization, which is what I tend to do, which is about bringing light into your heart, connecting to a light source. I say connect to a light source, which means something like, it could be outside your being, which is you connect to a light source, which could be that you're enjoying nature, like a sunrise. When you see a sunrise, something like that triggers, it connects to you, it jars you. You know, when I go and see a sunrise, it's so beautiful that it touches my soul. And so that's why I recommend to see a sunrise or a sunset. The light that comes over the horizon, the light, I see the light on the horizon, which is beyond our sight, which means hope for a difficult situation. And it will activate your unconscious being. And it will begin the grand awakening. And you can tap into the light that's in your heart. So let's do this together, a visualization. We will create vivid mental images in our mind's eye, bringing positive emotions such as joy, happiness, and hope. Blessings. Our intention today is to release negative emotions. What I know from my experience as an empath intuitive is that we have an energy field surrounding our bodies. The mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional characteristics are stored. When I do a reading, I see out in someone's energy field, and I see circumstances, images, and messages. Your ball of light visualization begins now. Now I'd like you to find a quiet space, sit or lay down comfortably, close your eyes, and let's release any negative emotions or any thoughts before this moment. So you can let out a sigh. And I'd like you to deeply inhale and exhale 3 times, and we'll do this together. So your eyes are closed, you're relaxing your body, so let's inhale and exhale 3 times deeply. Now I'd like you to relax from your top of your head, your crown chakra to the tip of your toes. And if you have to speak out anything that's bothering you, that's completely acceptable. So as we relax our body and we've inhaled and exhaled, I'd like you to imagine looking up to the sky and seeing an enormous ball of light. And this glowing, beautiful, illuminating light is coming towards you. And I'd like you to trust this light. I suggest that you trust this light, and you ask the light to encompass your entire being. And as this ball of light touches your mind, your heart, your spirit, you accept it, and you feel any negative emotions evaporate, disappear, and they're replaced by light. And you can let out a sigh or a breath. And this light is pure, and it feels like it's serene and it's touching your soul. And you feel its warmth, and you like holding on to this feeling, and you breathe out old energy that's bothering you. And as you sit here and this ball of light touches your entire being, you feel a place of stillness and rest. And it feels familiar, and you know that its goodness and its light will help bring abundance into your life. And you have hope, and you make a wish. While you feel the light encompassing your body, you make a wish. And you put that wish inside of your heart, and you leave it there. And I'd like you to stay in this moment, and then I will count backwards to 3, and you will open your eyes. So let's stay in this moment of light and purity and hope and abundance and happiness. 3, 2, 1. Now you may open your eyes. Thank you for joining us. When you do a visualization or you do a meditation, you find the stillness that's inside your inner being, that's part of you, that sometimes it's hard to get to. You're trying to find it because we have stresses, and we have fears, and we have emotions. And sometimes we have anger in our heart, or aggression or resentment. And so a visualization is a way for us to let go of that, to ask for forgiveness, and to forgive ourselves and to forgive others. When we find that stillness, everything around us seems less important, and more of our own passions and light and love come through. So that's my suggestion to you, is to try to do a visualization, or try to visit a sunrise if you can get up early in the morning, because it will touch your soul, your spirit, and little pieces of light form a stream of light. And if we form a stream of light, we can have more compassion and more goodness and more kindness in our souls. And then when we are clear enough, we can send that light to others. And we can have more patience and hope and new beginnings. And you can make a list of 5 humongous goals like I've spoken of. And then your goals can come true. And you can have synchronicity. I'm going to touch on right now my sacred knowledge, which I just mentioned light, and now I'm going to mention nature. So nature, the phenomenon of the physical world collectively, including plants and animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, everything that is in it, such as the animals, the plants, the mountains, the oceans, the stars, that is not made by people. So when we engage with nature, so if we spend time in nature, 5 to 15 minutes a day, that's all I'm asking. When you wake up or before you go to sleep, if you can just spend some time in nature, you will realize that we are all connected, and there's a flow that's happening that's unseen in nature. And if you get with the flow, you will receive messages and signs from the universe, just like our dreams. when we record our sleeping dreams is a story coming from our unconscious that is guiding us to our destiny. And it's giving us the players in our life, the circumstances, symbols. Sometimes it comes in written form. For example, last night, I had a dream with somebody from my past, and I remember very vividly there was this piece of cardboard and there was words on it, and I remember what the words said, and then I ripped off and cut off some of the words. And I've been doing this for a long time, recording my sleeping dreams, so I'm aware of my fears, and I'm aware of ways to learn about myself and be guided by my dreams. So I suggest to take full, I don't want to say advantage, full awareness, I should say, of the sacred knowledge, which is light, nature, and record your sleeping dreams. Dreams are a universal human experience that can be described as a state of consciousness, characterized by sensory, cognitive, and emotional occurrences during sleep. Okay, so let's go on and talk a bit about angels, and then we're going to talk about starseeds. Okay, so overall, there's 81% of humans believe in angels. 77% of Americans believe in angels. So angels are made of light. They are found in I'm going to show you. They're found, my favorite painting right here is called Angels Dancing. Hail to the angels. I love the angels. They're all around me and they guide me. This is called Angels Dancing Sun by Giovanni di Paolo, an Italian painter. And so angels are represented in fine arts with halos and wings, and they are light beings. When I see angels in my third eye, I do see a form, but mostly what I see is an outline, and I mostly see light, and they are not communicating verbally with me. It's more like they're gesturing things. So sometimes I see them bringing me something, or pointing to something, or showing me something. There is believed to be legions of angels, in fact, tens of thousands, even more than 100 million occupying the realm between heaven and earth. So angels travel from the heavens to earth to protect humanity, to guide us. I say, like I say about light, I say you can ask for angels to come into your life. And there's signs of angels. You might believe that, a feather, finding a feather, a coin, hearing a bell ring. You might sense that there's a presence of something around you, and you can't really figure out what it is. Maybe it's an angel. There's angel numbers. We in my family speak of 1111, which is a very important angel number. So when we see the time 1111, we kind of feel that, oh, there's an angel present. And there's also angel numbers like 222, 555. There's ranks of angels. There's 9 ranks of angels. And these are them here. Seraphim, cherubim, thrones, dominions, virtues, power, principalities, archangels, and guardian angels. So the archangels are the warriors, and the guardian angels are the messengers. I had done a segment about near-death experience, NDE. Near-death, yeah, right, NDE. And I spoke about, I would say, research. We're going to say it was research. And it was done by, I'm not going to even call what it was because then I'll be wrong, but there was research done about angels and people who had near-death experiences, and they spoke about calling them as beings of light, and how the angels, when you passed, guided you, and they either guided you to heaven or someplace, or there was three types. They either were there to be next to you during this, during this experience, or they were there to give you a message. So I truly believe as humans that angels are here with us as well. Maybe we can't see them, but they're in another dimension. They are here. They are present. You can ask for angels to be in your life, just like I say, you can ask for light to surround you, or light. You can always, if you're empathic, ask for light to surround you. Just call out to white light. And then here, look at this. This is cool. This is all the thousands and trillions of angels that are around us. And angels are a sign of an inner awakening or a mystical experience. These spiritual, benevolent beings of divine wisdom are here for us. Okay, we're going to talk about starseeds. And I know that my fellow light workers believe in starseeds, and we're going to talk about light codes. And I know I've talked about light language, and this is a whole other thing. You know, I had, the other day, I had a Bigfoot investigator. And then a few weeks ago, I had a UAP expert. And I've had angel channelers. These mysteries of the universe are now guiding me to talk about starseeds. So here we go. So here's some traits of starseeds. And I will just talk a bit about what a starseed is. I know whoever's been present in the past is aware what starseeds are, but I'll tell you. So a starseed is a person spiritually aware. Starseeds have a strong connection to the divine creator. Starseeds are said to be old souls sent back to earth to transform the world into heaven on earth. They have spiritual gifts of clairvoyance, clairaudience, or clairsustenance. They're capable of telepathy, who sense other emotions and forecast future events. They're considered multi-dimensional beings of light. Now, funny thing is, I had a few weeks ago, I had a guest who I have to get back. And her name is Jilly Clark. And Jilly spoke about starseeds and how she had the grand awakening. And then from there, I had Peter Hansen. And Peter Hansen is an angelic channeler. And then I had these lucid dreams. So a lucid dream is when you close your eyes and you're not asleep and you're falling asleep, but you're aware. And I had this dream that I saw this being that had a blue head like this, believe it or not, like this. It didn't look just like this, so I guess that was an Andromedan. And then I saw many of these in a crowd, and they were welcoming me. Whether or not that means that I'm a starseed, I don't know. But then after that, a few weeks later, I had another lucid dream with some kind of spherical spaceship with lights. So I'm not quite sure. That's all I've gotten from that. I don't know if that's the end of it, but that's probably why I want to talk about starseeds. So starseeds are known as Sirian, Arcturian, Andromedan, Palladian starseeds. And then I'm going to talk about light codes, but I wanted to show you these starseeds. So here some are right here. This is Palladian, and they are also known as Nordic aliens, and they are supposed to be 8 to 10 feet tall. My friend Mujin came on, and he spoke about them as being blue beings. No, he spoke about one, I don't know, blue beings. I'm trying to decipher what all this is. Arcturian look like this, and then Andromedans. So if you could see that. Fascinating, isn't it? Anybody wants to know. So I'm going to put that in the chat so that you know what I'm referring to, right? Starseeds. Whoever's out there listening. And so some traits of starseeds are they can think beyond time, have a strong empathy, have deep inner wisdom. And these starseeds are actually trying to help humanity bring peace and love. And maybe they're a representation of, maybe they're symbolic. Hi, human 50/50. All of them understand Ka language. Okay, so Ka. So Ka is spiritual essence. So you know that, Dominican? Dominica. I think so. So anyone who's new to us right now, human 50/50, I'm so glad that you followed us. I'm going to put you on here, just like Olsen TV. So these are my followers. These are our followers. We're all together. So starseeds, they have near-death and out-of-body experiencing, feeling of isolation and loneliness, helpful, kind, and generous. So there's different stages to becoming a starseed. A sudden divine experience, change in attitude and beliefs, develop spiritual understanding, growth in inner love and beauty, spiritual healing, and a higher self-union. Okay, so I don't know. This is all, you know, we're learning as we go. I just changed my name. I am Master. Oh, LF Slave, you are my favorite streamer. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you told me that because I was like, who is this? Awesome. So do you no longer have that? So then is Master gone? Or do you have two? All right, so Dominica. So this is Syrian. These look like very much like beings of light. So let's go on to light codes, right? So these are Palladians, and they have a Scandinavian look by nature. With blonde hair, blue eyes, pale skin, highly emotional, Palladians are soul healers. Their heart and crown chakras vibrate at incredibly strong frequency, and as a result, they're naturally drawn to roles that involve healing and unification. And this is an Andromedan. And they tend to be looking like blue or violet. And I think that's what I had in my dream. My lucid dream was an Andromedan. Now, light codes. So light codes. Light codes. What are light codes in spirituality? Light codes are sacred geometries, energy patterns, sound waves, colors, frequencies, and they're emitted by the entire creation. We can access them in various dimensions and octaves through light language, among other forms of modalities. Last week I had a woman I shared with you who sang light language, and she spoke of you go into some kind of trance and you sit down and you go into a very peaceful stillness meditation mode, and you connect to whatever is coming through. And it sounded like a song that she was singing. It was beautiful. Now, light codes. Some people carry light codes from their higher realms and can activate them in other people. A significant number of people communicate in the coded dialects of councils or star systems where they participate. So light codes are energy patterns at specific energetic frequencies encoded with information from higher dimensional sources. Every being is encoded at birth with specific set of light codes which function as their personal frequency or cosmetic fingerprint. I must have something going on because I must have some kind of light codes that are coming through, because lately, I would say in the last 6 months, I've been really, really struggling with the old me, the new me, the future me, or it's so much going on. I was wearing earplugs. If anyone was watching my earlier streams, I was wearing earplugs because I felt like so much was coming at me. Now, I don't know if it was electromagnetic waves. I don't know if it was a lot of the energy going on with people, because I know there's so much going on out there with what should we do, and this is good and this is bad, and I don't forecast things that way. I don't ever say that anyone's good or bad. I believe that we all are on our own journey. Like my journey, my friend Peter Hansen, who's the angelic channeler, told me that we all have, like we're in a movie basically. So my movie is all the characters that I choose. So everyone that's come through, like today, Randi, the guest that we had, she was one of the players in my movie. And she was bringing forth some information to share with you about being a shaman. And I don't know if it helped. I don't know if it brought something, even a little bit of shed of light towards anything that's going on can only help, right? Like jarring our system a little bit, because we can get stuck in patterns and we can't get out. And maybe it's old language that we've heard growing up, or maybe it's at our workplace, maybe it's something that is within us. But if you just have an open mind, open heart, and that's what I have. So moving on about light codes, because these are some more. I want to share this because I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe together we can figure this out. So light code carriers, you can be a light code carrier and trigger the light language within you. Light language. And Dominica just said about light language, Ka. So Ka is one of the words that we're learning. So your energetic frequency. Mer means spinning field of light. Ka. So I guess Ka is spiritual essence, and Ba, B-A-H, means physical aspect of body. So I wonder if we go Ka, Ka, Ka. I don't know if that does something to you. Mer, mer, mer. Ba, ba, ba. I don't know. I'm guessing. Light language is a form of communication from a higher dimensional realm. Light language connects us with our soul rather than our logical mind. Humanoid aliens have traits similar to that of human beings, including upright stance, biopedism, oppositional thumbs, and facial features. And that's what we're talking about, the Starseeds. Anybody have any questions? We're all learning together. And I'm Mary Amy, and this is Signs of Light. So light code carriers. So it says you can initiate light codes and excel in your uplifting journey. So we're going to have an uplifting journey together on my stream, Signs of Light. And that's what I'm about, connecting to your light. And I accept you for whatever you are and whoever you are. And you accept me and I accept you if you want to, if you choose. So a high vibration pattern is triggered to open into a multi-dimensional. So maybe if we do like a little meditation and we close our eyes and we ask to connect to our light codes, maybe this will work. This will drastically transform you and upgrade your DNA and link you to the unity consciousness. That's possible, right? How do you activate your light code? This is the intention process when someone starts the upgrade process to a higher spiritual being. That's what we are, right? We're just talking about, and so to talk about what does that mean, spiritual being? When I say spiritual being, I mean compassion and love and light and beauty and nature and goodness. So spreading light to you and saying, hey, everything can be better today. It's the power of thought, because our thought is very powerful. My thoughts line up with, I have alignment with my thoughts, my words, my actions. So when I say that I love you, then my actions are that I love you, and my thoughts are that I love you. And I'm forgiving myself, and I'm forgiving you. As the higher light frequencies start to incorporate and meet with this specific energy field, dormant codes start activating. These include codes of stored energy, light, knowledge, and intelligence. Like Randi said, everything is right there. It's just about connecting to it, and if you choose to. And it's about being ready. Are you ready to connect to it? Human 5050, are you ready? Olsen TV, are you? Thanks. Who's Fire Wrath 555? Okay, guys, just so you know, and when I say guys, I'm just saying he, she, they, what, I mean, 5 is my number. So 1-5 is the day I'm born. My birthday's coming August 15th. And so all these 5s, this is very, very encouraging for me. Fire Wrath 555. Okay, board. You guys are getting on my board. Human 5050 and Dominica, which is, I don't know if we replaced Master. So thanks for your stream. I have to go. You're amazing. You're amazing too. Spiritual enactment is the realization and advancement of spiritual growth, enlightenment, inner peace, and awareness. By segregating from the self-sense, individual needs and wants, you get ready to the spiritual activation. Are we ready to spiritually activate? Which means the goodness, the light, the beauty. Which means that you can have abundance in your life. How? So let me just tell you some little suggestions. When you bring light into your life, whether you see a sunrise or sunset, when you trigger this by asking yourself, you close your eyes and you say, what do I want? What will bring me joy? What can I do in my life that will bring me happiness? And you don't share this with anyone. You write it down. Write it down to manifest it. Write it down on a piece of paper. And I'm not saying a specific human being. You're not saying, oh, I want him or her. I'm talking about something in your life that you want to manifest. If you want something material, if you want to change something about you, if you want a relationship in your life, like I want a beautiful relationship, maybe whatever that is to you, write it down on a piece of paper. Put it in your sock drawer, and that's the first step to manifesting it. And that's how you can bring your joy, how can you can bring your happiness. I'm saying that's a suggestion from me to you. Okay, now, with spiritual awakening, people have different paths, right? But we recognize similar spiritual achievements during the spiritual exercises. So I said ascension, right? When we find the grand awakening, which is we're like, oh, it's all there. We're all feeling good now. And maybe it's not all the time. Maybe you can sometimes catch it for a moment, and you can be a better person for a moment. Or I shouldn't say better person. You can be more full of light for a moment, and then you go back, and then you go forward. Because it takes time to be there all the time. It takes time. It's not easy to do because you're basically holding on to being kind all the time, or happy all the time, or light-filled all the time. And then life happens to us, and we fall out of it, and we get lost for a minute. But then we have to get back to it. Right? We have to get back to it. With the higher comprehension, people set off on this tour and showcase layer by layer. They put into consideration our real nature, the place we originated from. Because when we're born with a beautiful glowing light in our heart. So let's find that again together. Okay, we're going to be leaving soon because I'm almost at 2 hours. So receiving light codes. As you climb the steps of spiritual awakening, Additionally called ascension, you start seeing colors and patterns and shapes during your meditation. So you're closing your eyes and you're letting out a breath and you're connecting to your spirit. And as you're doing that, the patterns usually are the signs of clairvoyance. The shapes can be elements of divine consciousness or sacred knowledge being downloaded or given to us. We all are intuitive. Like I say, I'm intuitive because I really worked at these abilities. Thanks for your stream. I have to go. You're amazing. Thank you. We all have abilities, and we all are intuitive, and we can all connect to that. And how do you connect to that? I started connecting really to my abilities during meditation, because I relaxed myself enough to understand who I was and to leave my body and to understand and know who I really was. And everyone has abilities. Maybe your abilities are that you're super sensitive. Maybe your abilities are that you are intuitive. Maybe your abilities are more that you hear things. If you connect to your senses and you allow yourself to close your eyes and hear beyond the room, past the room, outside the room, as far as you can hear, and you're quietly doing this, you turn off technology, you will find that you become more intuitive and your senses are more alerted. In other words, everything becomes more vibrant, and it can come through in sounds or colors. Maybe you'll have more dreams that are full of alerts about which direction you should take yourself into, and it will guide you. Maybe someone from your past will come forward. Maybe there'll be a message. Maybe it will come through as someone who's passed, and you will have a you will have either a spirit or angelic presence, and it will guide you. For people with other capabilities to receive, they might absorb the light codes from the carriers. Such gifts are given through the universe and take place through specific people. So maybe the people that you come in contact are here to give you information and guide you. I don't know. I feel like I'm here to guide people too. So light language. Before we go, I'm going to touch on light language. What exactly is light language? That vibration or light frequency of light are what constitutes our DNA. Light alludes to vibration frequency that carry the creation codes. DNA is initiated through spiritual arousing, and the goal is to build a light body. The higher consciousness level ultimately exceeds those human-based dialects, which are based on vocabulary. When a person is tapped into a higher consciousness, the language is extended to hand gestures referred to as mudras, tones, and geometry, among others. The language of light speaks in universal capability, as though as its mother of existing languages. Transmissions. Light language is the used dialect when communicating from higher dimensional domains, and that is why they usually sound similar to the ordinary words we use. Light language is also specific to the individual as is intended to reach. So no two light languages can be the same. Okay, there's the answer. Now we know about that. Okay. The purpose of light language is to shift your energy to a higher octave. You feel this when tuning in. As your energy rises through the senses, your brain is triggered into a gamma state where you become receptive and let go of control of your senses, therefore allowing your frequency to shift to expand your mental, emotional, and spiritual capacity. It can come through in binaural beats, physical pulses, physical movements, and mantras, channeled audible vocals, and even written symbols. Okay, well, this was lovely. I was going to touch on star children, but I will do that next time. And I want to say a poem, which I said last week. Butterflies, sunshine, and angels. So light reaches out to me. If I forget light, it finds me in my dreams, or it finds me in nature, or it finds me through a song. Everything you say, think, and do designs your future. Fear, negative thoughts will become darkness in your life, attracting unhappiness in people, relationships, and career. Let's create only positive thoughts and relationships. Thank you for joining me. You can find me on MaryAmyOfficial.com, my Instagram, MaryAmyOfficial, my Facebook, MaryAmyOfficial, and I am so grateful to the people who joined us today and our new followers, Fire Wrath 555, Human 5050, Dominica, thank you so much, and everyone else who joined us in the chat, like Olsen TV, who also followed us, and anybody else. My blessings to you in honor of my Scottish grandmother, Lucille. Lang may your lung reek, which means I wish you good luck and good fortune in the future. Thursday's stream, I don't have a guest yet, but I might. I'll let you know. I posted on my Instagram and my Facebook. And I guess I'll probably touch on UAP because I want to know what's going on. And of course, angels and light. And I wish you well. And I'm sending light to you. And I'm saying to you that you can find me on this stream because I am sharing with you hope and love and compassion, and I wish you well, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Be well. I'm coming from New York. It's Mary Amy and Signs of Light. I'm going to show you my sign that I made up. Mary Amy, Signs of Light. Thank you. Bye-bye.